You guys decided to join us for week 2, which is a bold decision. We decided to open up a little Q&A this week, which leads to Drake in a speedo. And, man, this one gets a little edgy. I hope you guys are ready for it. It's week 2 of the Washed Up Walkons podcast. Let's go. Have a day. Three, two, one. Kevin and Drake can't hear it, but there's some delicious bacon sizzle satisfaction going on for the listeners right now. Welcome in to the second week of the Washed Up Walkons podcast. I'm your host Tyler, and we got the same two guys that we had last week, Drake and Kevin, with us. If you guys want to say hello.
Hello, guys. It's good to be back.
Gosh, we've had a week, let me tell you. Outpour from the fans. I mean, just blowing up. We'll probably go international soon. I don't know. We have Drake Kulik fans. We have Kevin Ward fans. I don't think anyone's a fan of me, but I'm the only one who knows really what we're doing and how to put this together. So I'm a necessary evil.
Yeah, he's kind of going to be locked into this program. So if anyone wanted a Drake and Kevin spinoff, I'm sorry, it's just not going to happen.
At least not for now. And maybe someday where I'm just producing that, you guys can talk. Kevin can just shit on Trace McSorley the whole time, and Drake can talk about how Josie isn't as tough as he really portrays himself to be on the field. But anyway, we want to, on a serious note, thank you all for those who tuned in the first week and who are tuning in now, for listening and giving us a shot, because we honestly didn't know what was going to come of this. Dead ass. I thought maybe 50 people would listen. That's honestly the number I had in my head. And I didn't check, but I think we're over 1,500 total listens now, which is
truly incredible.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool for the first time.
Yeah. It's really cool. Very supportive Hawkeye fans out there. And it's not to our surprise. You know, you've always been loyal. All right. And that's something we love. But as you heard with the intro there, that bacon sizzle, that brings us to our first topic for the day. And that is this past weekend's game, where the Hawks brought home a dub from up north. Several on Twitter like to call it Kinnick North, which, you know,
is fair. That's fair.
I mean, it's one of those stadiums where it might be 50-50, honestly. It always seemed like it. 48-31. Am I right or wrong on that?
That is correct.
48-31, the Hawkeyes bring home the W and are now 4-1. And
they covered the spread by like 10, if anybody.
Yeah. I mean,
so when we told you to hammer the Hawks on the -7 line, you know, we knew what we were talking about. Right. You got to take our word for that.
Yeah, I mean, if you guys who did listen last week didn't hammer, I mean, you heard Drake, Hawks by 1 million. You lost money, and it's because you didn't trust us, and now you know. But anyway, you know, it was a game where I thought the offense did what I thought they would do, and the defense was a little surprising. What do you guys think?
Surprising in what way?
I didn't think they'd give up that many points.
No, I don't think anyone did.
Well, you got to remember we had a guy get hurt.
Minnesota team with like 7 true freshmen starting. I would have called you a liar.
Yeah, well, and granted, you have to give a little bit of the of that to we're starting 2 freshman corners, which we'll talk about. I'm going to bring that up eventually on its own point, but um, it's a little different when you have guys in there and they're trying to figure stuff out. They obviously targeted Riley Moss early in the game when he was still getting his feet wet,
which seems to have been a mistake.
Well, yeah, in the end, ends up being defensive or Big Ten freshman of the week. Yeah. And what do you expect from Phil Parker? God, what a guy. I mean, I suppose I'll start with this. Before we hit record here, I told Kevin and Drake I was going to pose them each a question, and in my one question, this kind of goes with a Q&A question as well. We might roundabout back to it eventually, but my question was for Kevin was about the two freshmen who played at corner, and about how Coach Parker seemingly not only finds all these people, but whenever the Hawks need it, the secondary is always there. Like he always comes with somehow, some way. Coach Parker, he's like
one of the best in the business.
Yeah, like I don't know how he does it. It's pretty incredible.
Yeah,
and I figured Kevin being a former, which some people might not even know. Kevin Ward. I don't even know if people knew who you were. Not to be an asshole.
Nobody knew who he was when he was a DB.
People still don't know who I am.
Right. Some do. I mean, you saw there are several Kevin Ward fans on Twitter, but I don't think, probably I would say most fans who know who you are now still don't know that you were a DB before switching to linebacker for the last, I don't know, 2-3 years. How many was
it? 2 years. Yeah, they kicked me out of the DB room for being too slow. So yeah, and I got fat and became a linebacker. It's a fun time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll talk about.
It's true. I just want to hear your thoughts on the. On the freshmen, how they did this weekend, and your thoughts on Coach Parker in general, and how he always has, no matter if it's a freshman or who, he always finds a way to get them prepared.
Yeah. So I guess I'll start talking about the 2 freshmen. Julius Brents played a phenomenal game. I can't overstate that. He played extremely well, especially for a freshman to just step in. And I think this was his first start. He had gotten playing time earlier, but I think this was his first actual start.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that kid can make plays. When I was with these guys over the summer, I was talking with some of the coaches, and this is one of the guys we pointed out is like, this guy can help us right away. He is just a natural athlete, has a natural knack to like find the ball, and he's very coachable. I know Coach Parker was very excited to get him on the field, and Riley again. He was an incredible athlete too. I know he got picked on. Yeah, it shows. He can run like a deer, and he can jump. Yeah,
he's a state track champion in the hurdles. He is one of my brother's best friends from Ankeny Centennial.
Is that right?
Yeah, and so I know Riley. He actually, for those listening, as me and Kevin sadly moved out of our house in Iowa City on Benton Street, Riley Moss actually took over and lived there in the summer with Spencer Petrus and Nico, whatever his last name is.
Regani.
I don't know how to say
something like that. Yep.
Yeah. So I know Riley fairly well, but yeah, go on.
Yeah, but so he got picked on a little bit earlier. They decided that he was the one that they were going to go after, and they threw a couple of deep balls up his way, which honestly I thought he played pretty well. The receivers just made good plays on him.
Yeah.
Like he didn't get like blown off the ball by any means whatsoever. It was just one of those 50-50 balls where the offense is hoping for the receiver to come down with it or a flag to be thrown.
Right.
And he defended a couple. He got beat on a couple. Those are really hard plays to defend. But overall, he played pretty well. He had the 2 picks. One of them was kind of a gimme, so
Yeah.
I'm not gonna suck his ass that much. But
hey, don't take it away from him. It still goes down as a pick on the stat
it's
sheet.
still a pick. But I mean, let's be honest. We could throw Kluver out here and he'd make that pick. But whatever.
Nope.
How many picks you had? How many picks you had?
We're not talking about me, okay?
Hey, that's all I'm saying. Don't hate on the kid's stat line. He had 2 picks.
And let's make a note on it. Kevin did start versus Northwestern. Him and Riley Moss, same amount of starts. Kevin infinitely less picks. So
yes. So I think that's a bad comment by you, Kevin.
I've also given up. I don't know, probably 100 less receiving yards too. So we can also put that into perspective, right?
Hey, they don't look at your receiving yards given up when they send you the promo.
Not 31. Anyway, going back to it, before Drake interrupted me, you freak.
I mean, he was freshman of the year, and you're just
freshman of the week. All right, that's not suck his ass.
Freshman of the week. Yeah, that's what I meant. Freshman of the week, and you're just not.
I just told you he played good. He got a lucky interception late. Like the guy threw it, like overthrew it, and it was right there. Anyone can make that interception. I'm not gonna take it away from him. He made the play. He didn't drop it. But yeah, no, he played well.
I know what I was gonna say. I was gonna go back to that, as you mentioned that I could have made that pick, which brought me to my thought, which was when he made that. When they targeted him before he had made either of the interceptions, I was gonna tweet something like, and I decided not to because I realized I don't really have grounds to tweet this because no one cares about a long snapper talking about corners. But it was something along the lines of like, I was gonna say, they did target him, they did score tutties on him, but he was there both times, like on the big plays that like. Just a freshman who's never had to start being in position is such a huge thing. Like,
yeah.
Him doing well will come with experience. Like that'll come. But like the mental stuff, the stuff that he can fix right now, like he was there. Like he was.
Right. Like I said, he was there to make both those plays. The receiver made a better play.
Yeah.
And
super
the mental
promising.
stuff. Yeah,
super
very
promising for the future.
He's got all the tools to be a highly successful player.
Yeah, and Brent's his body. He's got an NFL body.
Yeah, he looks like a total sicko. Like looks like
how tall is he?
So good. Like
who are we talking about now?
Brent's
Brent's.
Oh, Brent's. Yeah, I think he's like 6'2".
Jeez, I mean,
he's gonna be a stud.
Yeah, I mean, you can't guess or predict because you don't know how the kid's gonna, if he's gonna stay out of trouble or if he's gonna do well academically or how much he's really gonna put into it. But I mean, you got to imagine if you're in a program like Iowa and you continue to succeed, just look at what happened to the guys before you. I mean, that kid.
I was just about to say. I feel like you can almost kind of just chalk it up as this kid's going to be one of the greats.
Right.
There's just lineage of corners from Iowa going on and being extremely successful. That it's just like you see a kid perform like that in his freshman year, and he's got Phil Parker as his coach. I mean, just chalk it up.
Yeah, I mean, you can't, but you can. It's like a potential's there. Potential's there.
There. Athleticism is there too, and I know Coach Parker. He's gonna be on his ass until he's an All-American caliber player. So that's just the way it is. I was,
and this was something that also came up because I know Riley, and I've talked to him, I messed around with him, like joking around a little bit, just through text messages over the summer, and he got those 2 picks. And again, I was gonna say something to him like, "Yo, good job on the picks, but don't settle. You have like so much potential." I was gonna text him something like that, and then I realized. He doesn't give a shit about what I say to him. Like, I don't. He's going to hear that from everybody else. Coach Parker's going to be in his ear for the next 4.5 years. He doesn't need a retired long snapper telling him to keep his foot on the gas. So I decided to hold off on that text message. But, yeah, man, they're promising. They're promising. What else? Is that the end of the podcast? Are we done? 14 minutes? No, not yet.
Yeah, I don't know why people would want to listen any longer. I'm surprised they tuned in already.
Honestly, I
I
feel like
don't think we've put out our best content quite yet in this 14 minutes. We've got some improvement to do here.
Well, Josie
All right,
hasn't come up in conversation, and neither has Trace McSorley. So we're, but
Yeah, I'm just gonna comment overall on how the defense played out. In my opinion, I know we gave up, 31 points doesn't look good on paper, but
no.
we had 2 touchdowns that we gave up right after a turnover. So I think one was like a 3-yard drive, and the other one was, I don't know, it was
That's true.
inside the 10, I think, right?
Something, yeah.
So I mean, you take away those 14 points, and it looks a lot better statistically.
Mm-hmm.
D line was dominant again. Anthony Nelson put a guy on the bench. He got benched.
Good.
They replaced the guy with a 6'9", 400-pound Michelin man, basically.
What am I missing here? Did we just lose Kevin?
No,
yeah.
he's here.
Oh, no,
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure we lost.
What are you talking about, Drake? He's right. Can you not hear him?
No, I didn't. I can't hear him.
I can
All
hear
right.
both now.
Yeah,
Okay, I can hear him now.
Kevin's been talking. We're fine. Anyway, yeah,
I ain't hearing
Anthony
you.
Nelson was absolutely dominant.
Absolute stallion. Yeah,
Epinesa is dominant.
Chauncey had a good game.
I was just gonna say Chauncey has impressed me so much when he ran down the QB when he scrambled. Like Chauncey's closing speed, which really hadn't been tested or shown before until that play, along with how long he is, like you can't get away from that guy. Like, oh my God, his potential. I think everyone's known that, like his body type, but his potential is through the roof too. Gosh, it's like,
yeah, we are so deep at defensive end, it's almost not even fair. Like,
it's insane.
We have to find a way to get these guys on the field, and like,
yeah, you got
hard.
defensive ends playing defensive tackle just because it's like a travesty to
because we ran out of positions for him. Yeah,
I mean, yeah, Sam Brinks and or Matt Nelson were both D ends to start with, so
yeah.
And Chauncey plays defensive tackle when they get on third down, so it's like we just got 4 defensive ends out there just so we can get some pass rush.
Yeah, I received a lot of good input over the last week. None better than Brady Ross. Brady Ross.
Shout out. Just shout out to the king.
Just straight up. Shout out to Brady Ross. Because he sent me a Snapchat. And for those who don't know, which is everybody but us 3. And I don't know why I keep saying that. But well, maybe some people get that feeling from watching Brady's interviews, the few that are out there. I've
trashed him a lot too.
Brady is not someone who's going to just give it to you. Like, in most instances, you're getting 0 credit from Brady Ross. He is going to trash whatever you think you did well and make you feel honestly like a horrible person. He's an interesting character. And that's not to say that Brady isn't a great guy himself, because he is. He sent me a Snapchat, I think the day it went up on Friday. I think I got a Snapchat that evening of somehow, I mean, it got to the players, which is awesome. I think that the fact that the guys are listening to this, I mean, some of them are probably like, God, I fucking hated him when he was here, and I hate him even more now. Because voice,
people hated hearing your voice.
Yeah, my voice it's just not one that's like, it's not a radio voice, which is we're in the wrong content if we were looking to do that. But the guys listened to it. Some of them I got snaps from several, and Brady said something along the lines of like, the podcast is elite or something like that. And it was like super simple. Then he proceeded to send me like 30 or 40 memes that are like, I couldn't even repeat what was said in the memes or the nature of the memes. He sent me like 40 of them. They were that vulgar. And he baffles me as a person. Like, I feel like there should be a documentary on him, but I just wanted to mention that he shouted out the podcast, and now we're shouting him out right now.
And Brady Ross is a big podcast guy. Like he
Keep
listens
do
to as many
yeah.
podcasts and from Joe Rogan to
Mhm.
Jordan Peterson and so on and so forth. So Brady
Yeah.
Ross is actually like a good judge of an entertaining podcast
Yeah.
that has good content because he's a big fan of him himself. So
Yeah.
from coming from him, coming from a guy who's extremely sarcastic and he can be one of the world's biggest dickheads almost all the time,
All
to,
the
to
time.
come out to come out with like a straightforward compliment of something that we did,
Yeah.
it actually holds quite a bit of weight with us.
I felt incredibly good about myself. Not that this is all on me. It was, I mean, it's a group effort, but yeah, it made us feel good, along with everybody else's outreach. A lot of good feedback on the Twitter feed. I got some text messages from a couple friends who I don't hardly talk to anymore, other than a fantasy football league. I see them once a year, sometimes twice a year, maybe. Got a couple texts from them like, "Hey, listen to your podcast. Really enjoyed it." I was on like cloud nine. I was feeling good. And then that paired with all the listens, we like sincerely appreciate you guys listening because we still don't know why. I mean, anyway, that segues into
let's get some content out for these people.
yeah. Well, I'm segueing into I mentioned Brady Ross because the question that I was going to pose to you, your individual question for the week, Drake, was about Brady Ross and his play this year and his usage, the usage of the
Yeah.
fullback in the offense, and how elite Brady Ross is as a fullback. And what the sad part is he probably won't play in the league.
Yeah, so let's just get this started by just appreciating the beauty that is Iowa football giving the ball to a fullback.
It's
There's
amazing.
like there's like maybe 10 teams or 15 teams in the country that still actually use a fullback anymore. It's a dying breed, but it allows a guy like Drake Kulik or like Brady Ross, somebody who is unathletic, who's got thick ankles, is slow, doesn't have good change of direction, not really that smart, allows a guy like that to get out on the field and compete with the best of the best. It's just a beautiful thing. And
It
then
is.
you take Brian Ferentz. Brian Ferentz knows how subpar of an athlete we are. He tells us all the time how shitty we look. But
True.
he appreciates what we're able to do for the offense and for the run game enough that now he's even going as far as feeding the guy on 3rd and 1 to get his
Feeding.
stats up a little bit. He just get his stats up a little bit.
He's
You
even
don't know how.
yeah. He's even caught a
Continue.
pass.
He's caught like 4 passes.
Yeah, he's got a
I mean,
couple
it's ridiculous.
passes.
The
I mean,
one thing I can say about Brady Ross is that this dude, he plays relentlessly. He is just the meanest, baddest dude on a football field that you don't want to run into. But for some reason, he hates touchdowns. I don't know what it is. Like against Wisconsin, he just forfeited his chance to be the absolute hero because he
Yeah.
just didn't want to score. I texted him afterwards. I said, dude, why do you hate touchdowns? And he's like, I don't hate touchdowns. He's like, I'm not. I think he said something like Kevin Durant or Dwight Howard or something. He's like, I would have had to have jumped like Julio Jones over Hawkinson from like the 7-yard line to get there. I'm like, dude, you went out of bounds at the 1. Like, just make a move, like jump, do something. Like, this is your chance at glory. Like, go score for all of us.
What were you gonna say, Kevin?
I forgot.
No, good. Yeah, man.
I can ramble on about Brady Ross forever, but I'll just leave it at that.
Man, I
It's
love Brady
awesome
Ross.
to see. It's awesome
Yeah.
to see him getting utilized like he should, because he
Yeah.
is just really that good of a football player and that key of an element to the Iowa offense. And it's also from a former fullback standpoint, it's heartwarming to see Brian Ferentz show him a little love.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know, you guys are giving yourself CTE for the program. I think it's only appropriate that they give you the ball at least once or twice a game, you know?
Thank you, Cream Pie. I appreciate that.
Yeah, CTE. It's not really. I mean, yeah. You don't know. You don't know. But it's not a good position. Like you probably wouldn't tell your 3rd grade son, like, all right, son, first day of practice, I want you to go ask to be the fullback.
Yeah, I mean, this is what Fullback did for me. The other day, I was in a bad mood for no reason at all. That happens when you've got
Common
degenerative
occurrence for
brain
Drake.
issues. Yeah, I was in a real bad mood, and my roommate Jared said he was going to get tacos, and I'm like, yes, I'm all in for some tacos. So I tell him, he knows how I take my tacos. I don't like raw onion on them. So he said no onion. Well, he gets back from the taco shop, and there's more raw onion on these tacos than I've ever seen in my entire life. It's like they forfeited, they just forgot. They left out the steak and they just loaded a fucking tortilla with raw onion. And I lost my shit. I punched a hole in the wall. I threw the tacos. I completely lost it. And the only thing that I could say about that is that playing fullback got the best of me.
Drake,
Yeah.
I've been meaning to talk to you. I don't know if we're gonna blame that one on being a fullback, but I think we should go, maybe see someone in a group setting, maybe, start taking some pills or something.
I don't.
Maybe just get you to calm down a little
The
bit.
thing for
Yeah,
me,
my therapist worries about me a lot.
yeah. Okay, so two things: stay in therapy. Drake, I was Drake's freshman roommate. All right, for those of you listening. So we spent every day together in Hillcrest. Shout out N320.
N320.
Shout out third floor.
Third floor vines.
Yeah, I mean the guys now that come in, they don't even know about that. They're pampered. They get put in Peterson, the new dorm. It's honestly sad because some of the best times were in Hillcrest. Drake has this history with, and we could probably spend 7 hours talking about Drake and the stuff that he's done out of anger over the past 5 years. Our freshman year, which was eye-opening for me in many ways. At some point, Drake revealed that he had brass knuckles in our dorm room. Like a real pair of brass knuckles.
Damn, now you're snitching.
I don't remember the context. I'm pretty sure it was over Call of Duty.
It was.
Are sitting in our room on a innocent day or night, I don't even remember, in our room playing Call of Duty circa 2013. This is just a good old day in Hillcrest. I think Drake died. He just died.
It was on some bullshit. Like, back then I was good at Call of Duty. I played Call of Duty all the time, and like I was just getting just wrecked for no reason.
The brass knuckles were on the desk for some reason. They usually stayed in the drawer, but they were out. He grabbed the brass knuckles and Kershawed them at our dorm room door and left a hole the size of, it was like quarter sized. It was a metal door. Or did you just put them on it? You threw it, and then because you dented our door, you might have picked them back up and punched it. I don't know.
Yeah, that sounds like something I might have done.
So, I mean, we lived with that the rest of the year. There are some other unique parts about our dorm room that I'm sure will come up at some point. One of them being that the cork board that everybody got turned into a dart board.
A throwing knife.
Throwing knife.
Yeah, throwing knife target.
Yeah.
But anyway, we'll get off that and we'll go into. I posed 2 questions to you guys. I'll talk a little bit now about some special teams, and just a beautiful play call, and the best. I mean, Coach Woods. Last year and this year, Coach Woods, I don't know how he's done it, but he has instilled confidence in the rest of the coaching staff that the fakes that he comes up with are going to work, and he puts them in
100% of the time.
And it works. I mean, Polecat, which I was asked to talk about and describe, I will eventually. It has to be organic. We're not just going to talk about me, but when it comes up, it'll come up. The punt fake in the Illinois game to Amani Hooker ran to perfection. If Garrett Jansen doesn't fall on his face, it's a touchdown going into halftime. And the Miguel squib kick to the outside that Geno Stone recovered. I believe it was Geno or Matt Hankins, one of the two, who recovered that. And now Herky, which we had in last year, just ran to absolute perfection. My Twitter blew up. I mean, like, I was watching with Lauren. My fiance is named Lauren. I was watching with Lauren, and I saw them shift, and I was like, "There's no way! Like, they're running this thing." And I had a little inside info. I'm not going to leak it all, but I knew something was in the works, and they shifted, and I was like, I really at that point I felt real. I kind of felt that, like, oh damn, I wish I was still a part of it, because it was a really cool moment. People were tweeting all over about it. James Daniels called me out and said that Subert is greater than Kluver, and like I don't know about that. Like, he threw a little dingy side pass to Hawkinson. I love Subert.
He threw it left-handed.
He is left-handed.
Hey, the people don't know that. All they know is that he threw that thing left-handed on the numbers. That's all that matters.
I'm not taking anything away from him, because I mean, it was like once Hawk caught the ball, the misdirection with Epinesa, I mean, it was just like, not that it really got anybody. They just had the look, and Sam Brinks blocked his ass off on the end, and Hawkinson scores a touchdown, and the Hawks go up another tutty, and I was freaking out. I was just like thrilled to be a Hawkeye fan at that point, and it was really good stuff. People wanted my analysis on it, and there's nothing to analyze. It's just the simple fact that Coach Woods is aggressive, and when he finds something that looks decent, if they can run it in practice and it works well, Coach Ferentz might have enough trust to put it in the actual playbook. And if they take it to the game field, clearly we've shown that we are not afraid to do something. So that was a highlight of my watching experience the other day.
Great play call, great execution.
Yeah. I don't know how you guys felt about it, but it was incredible.
Our head coach has gone from very, very conservative and actually getting berated for his conservative nature to now being a full-blown riverboat gambler. So it's pretty exciting stuff.
Just a savage. People are scared, guaranteed. And it's something you have to plan for. Not only this is something that most fans wouldn't think of. A fake, when you run it in a game, is not only effective immediately, and in our case, touchdown, whatever, first down, but it is now effective for the rest of the year. And that every team game plans, and now they have to worry about what the hell is Iowa got in the books, because they're 4 for 4 on their last 4 fakes. So we better be. I mean, they have to spend extra time on that shit, and that takes more time from other things. It's all a mind game.
Annoying,
and the Hawks are winning. Yeah, the Hawks are winning that one.
Yeah.
And
being a special teams guy most of my life, I'd always have Thursday night meetings with Coach Woods. We go over the opposing team's stuff, and he'd be pulling up like fakes from when the coaching staff was like at 3 schools ago, like back from 2005. Like, hey, they ran this. They might still have this in the bag. Oh my gosh! To be like, all right, so you see this here? That's going to be the tip off that something might be up. So yeah, basically, we are making the GAs of other schools spend hours in the film room. Yeah, basically just crying, because they have to spend hours in the film room just going over all the stuff that we've put on film in the past and make sure that they have to prepare for it. So kudos to them, making the opposing coaches hate their life.
Yep. We're going to move on to what I think is going to be really good for us, because from the response I've already gotten, it's going to facilitate some incredible conversation. Q&A. I sent out a tweet earlier this morning that we were recording tonight, and that I wanted some questions for a little Q&A session that we're now going to try and do every week on the Washed Up Walk-Ons podcast. And we're going to start off tonight with one for Drake. And this is someone has done their research, or someone knew of you before Hawkeye football. This is from @Wilkins Amy on Twitter. I heard that Drake was a high school swimmer. Ever throw that speedo back on? ? Thank you, Amy, for the question.
Yes, Amy. Thank you.
What say you, Drake?
I did swim a little bit back in the day. So she did her research, and she is
modest as hell. He used to brag about how he was an All-American.
I rode the coattails of true All-Americans to become a swimming All-American. Let's clarify that right now. But yes, I was a high school All-American as a 50 freestyler. But aside from that, no, Amy, I have not put the speedo back on in a while. I actually asked Kevin the other day to come work out with me, and we would swim for cardio afterwards. And I think that he has developed a little bit of a fear of working out with anybody besides himself.
All right,
so
let's get this out of the way right fucking now.
I don't know anything about this.
You texted me at 10:30 on a Saturday, the day of the Wisconsin game.
I'm like pretty sure it was like 9 a.m. and you weren't doing anything because the tailgate was already set up.
Weren't doing anything, dude. I was probably 3 mimosas, 2 Bloody Marys, and 5 beers deep by then. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Okay.
Now you're trying to hype yourself up too much.
Aggression.
You're getting carried away.
So hold on. Drake asked you, Kevin, to work out the morning of the Wisconsin game.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, I mean, the game wasn't until 7:30 p.m. I figured at 9 a.m.
But
we could probably go for a workout.
Yeah, but the Ward tailgate is a full-fledged operation.
To say that
I know this.
Like this thing is planned weeks in advance.
But Beef Ward had everything under control. I mean, they were probably there since 6 a.m. So now it's 9. Everything's set up. He might have even had Kevin. He might have cooked up some breakfast for him. Whatever.
But
if Kevin, Ward wasn't there yet, so
Kevin's
Kevin
already
and I
buzzed.
He might have had like one mimosa.
Yeah, dude, you're not even. Drake, the one tailgate that you showed up to, you passed out like an hour into. So you have.
I've showed up to 4 tailgates now, and
right, so
I may have been really hungover for one of them. So what? Sue a guy. All right.
Sue a guy.
Every once in a while, you don't put forth your best foot. I showed up and I laid an egg that day. My fault. It didn't happen again.
Drake. You did.
Okay, regardless of this tailgate situation, you still were asked to come work out with me. And, Mr. Fitness Guru over here, he turned me down. So, no, I haven't gotten in the pool in a Speedo in quite a while.
So the final answer is
Speedo when you asked me to work out with you? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, what else did you think I was going to wear? You think I was going to wear some swim trunks? You like a scrub or something?
Wow. So, okay. Amy, your answer is no, Drake has not been in a Speedo.
But Amy,
if he was going to get in a Speedo, he would have to get a couple size bigger because he is slightly heavier than when he came from high school. But he hasn't been in one, although I'm sure that he would. I'm offering Drake's body up to Twitter. I'm sure he would gladly post a picture or amuse somebody.
I was just about to say, every man has his price. So for the right price,
okay,
I would be more than happy to.
All right.
We're moving on. We're moving on. I don't want to hear any about that. The next one's for Kevin, and this says, "Oh wait, where'd it go?"
Captain Kluver dropped the ball here, huh?
Yeah, I don't know. I had it and now it's gone. I'll just pull a different one.
Alrighty.
Proud _ Iowan. and his name on Twitter is Proud TOE, Team Out East. Clearly, he's not a fan of Iowa State. What was all of your welcome to college football moments? Like in camp, weight room, or in a game? Speaking of weight room, what guys during your time there were workout freaks of nature? So this is for all of us. I'll start, and I thought about this on the drive into work today, because I I open up at noon, so the tweets were already coming in by that time. And I don't like giving Drake compliments. I don't. And unfortunately, this results in one. My welcome to college football moment. What?
I said I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. My welcome to college football moment, not so much like, it wasn't like a super intense thing, but coming from Marshalltown, I was in an environment where, well, to put it frankly, I was the best football player. Other than our quarterback, I was the best football player in Marshalltown.
Jeez.
And I ended up as the long snapper for the Hawkeyes, which I know, granted, I'm an insane athlete for a long snapper, but regardless, I thought I was pretty strong. I thought I was pretty built coming out of high school. And we went through camp. My first day on campus was day one of camp, our very first year. So I was thrown into the fire. Camp was 23, what seemed like weeks long, but it was 23 days long. And we got out, and then it was time to move into the dorms. And Drake was my roommate, as I said previously. And it was our first night in the dorm. We went to, this is getting so intimate. We went to shower, and so Drake, took his clothes off and put his towel around him, and we were heading to shower. And I thought, damn, I'm not even the most jacked in my own room. Like, this dude's biceps are huge. Like, this guy has huge muscles. Like, I thought I was strong. I thought I was big, and I wasn't even number one in my own dorm room. And it made me feel real small. And I quickly realized my place in the program, because Drake was bigger than me, and there were a lot of guys bigger than Drake, bigger and stronger than Drake, especially our freshman year. And the second part to that question is Brandon Sheriff is an absolute freak. Brady Ross is a freak. Amani Jones is a freak. You could go down the list, but that was my kind of welcome to college football moment. Happened early.
Interesting choice.
I appreciate the compliment there, Kluver. Those don't come from you ever. So that was nice.
Yeah.
I'll give my welcome to college football moment. Mine it actually happened several years later, because on the first play that I ever played in college football, it was our third year against Iowa State in the second game of the year. I had suffered a sprained ankle in camp that year, and so I didn't play or dress for the first game. But it was relatively healed by the time we got to Iowa State, and I was on the field for the opening kickoff. And I was pretty wide-eyed looking around Jack Trice. I couldn't believe that the time had actually come where I was going to play a little bit. And so I was excited, juiced up, and the kicker kicked a touchback. Well, being that I was a wet behind the ears little punk-ass kid that was just getting his first taste of college football, I ignored the fact that it was an onside or a touchback, sorry. And I went to hit the guy that I was supposed to hit, and he knocked me unconscious. He hit me harder than I'd ever been hit before up to that point. And the ground, when my head hit the ground, it woke me up. And I was in such a fog until after halftime, when I could go into the locker room and clear my head a little bit. But that was my welcome to college football moment. Hey kid, you still aren't shit because you just got knocked out by a bench player on kickoff.
I remember that film too. Still to this day.
Tough day.
I need to watch the film.
Yeah,
So
good.
it was
yeah.
a really tough day for me.
We've all been the guy on the film a few times. I guess my welcome to college football stories kind of being one of the guys on the film. Yeah, it was my first camp. We were probably 2 weeks in, and we were doing a special teams drill. And somehow I got paired up with Anthony Hitchens. Needless to
Whoops.
say, Anthony Hitchens, who is now playing for the Kansas City Chiefs, has signed a
With
multi-million
like a
dollar contract
$35 million contract.
Yeah,
or
I was
something.
gonna say at a very high level.
against a young, wide-eyed 18-year-old, 200-pound Kevin Ward. He put me about 6 feet into the ground.
He sealed the
And
coffin.
yeah, no remorse whatsoever. Didn't even help me up off the ground afterwards. You know what? I don't blame him. I wouldn't have helped me up either. The next day we're watching the film, and guess who's the first one up on the film? He's like, "This is what we need more of. We need more of guys putting guys into the dirt." Guess who's getting put into the dirt?
Kevin
It's your
Ward.
boy. So that was my welcome to college football. That first camp was
Traumatic for you.
it was rough to say the least. You have to figure out a lot of shit for yourself real quick.
Everybody's first camp makes them want to quit. It just every single person goes into camp, and by the end of it, they're like, "Dude, now that I know I have 5 of these or 4 of these, like I actually don't want to do this anymore." Before you even get to your first season.
Yeah.
There's an asterisk behind that, and it's if you're a specialist, then it doesn't apply.
Like we said, football players.
Right. No, yeah. Next question. This comes from Joey T. Favs. I don't know.
Faves, probably.
Faves. Any major differences in the way a 4-star is treated versus a walk-on once the first fall camp starts? And this is, I mean, obviously, all three of us know the clear answer, but I think for a lot of people out there, it's like a true kind of a true wonder of like how that kind of dynamic works. At least at Iowa, because I know it's not the same everywhere. And we as 3 walk-ons have firsthand experience. Either you have any strong way to put that on how that dynamic works? You kind of want me to go over it?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Kev.
Yeah, sure. Basically, the only difference between a walk-on and any other guy on the team is the walk-on pays tuition. That is about the only difference you can see.
That's
guys
it.
show up, and if they perform well in the weight room and on the field, they're going to play over the guys who got a scholarship. That's just the way it is. And I mean, we saw countless examples of that in our time here. So
Yeah.
And like you said, that's not common across the country. Iowa does it differently. We probably have one of the best walk-on schools in the entire nation, in my opinion.
I would have to say so. I mean, it can't be simply stated enough that it literally, other than the money that goes into your account, that your scholarship check goes into your account every month, you have no idea if you walk in that complex with no previous knowledge who's a walk-on or who's on scholarship.
Yeah, no doubt.
Some of the guys don't even know. I had multiple people I wasn't put on scholarship till my 3rd season starting, and in my second year starting, 2014, 2015, I got into multiple conversations where there was an awkward moment where scholarship came up, walk-on came up, and they were like, "Oh, I thought you were on scholarship." Like, people literally don't know. Like, that's how meshed everybody is. You're treated the same way from the strength conditioning staff. You're treated the same way from the support staff. You're treated the same way from the coaching staff. You're given every single opportunity that a scholarship player is given. It is, for a walk-on, truly a blessing because it enables 3 guys like us to eventually become significant role players on the contributors and role players on the team. And a program like Iowa needs those guys, which is probably why the environment fosters that kind of dynamic. It's a really awesome thing.
Yeah,
I would not change my. I was offered 2 scholarships to long snap out of high school, Wyoming and Eastern Michigan, and especially now, but even throughout my time as I still was a walk-on for 3.5 years, would not have changed it one bit. I knew the minute I stepped onto campus that Iowa City was the place to be for me.
Yeah. I think looking at our senior graduating class, almost half of them were walk-ons. So
Yeah.
to say that walk-ons are essential to this program is an understatement at best.
Mm-hmm. Next question, and this is a quick
This might have
one.
to be the last question, boys.
This is going to be the last one, and then we're going to talk a little bit about the Indiana game. The next question is, I'm doing horrible. Oh, here we go. What are 2 things fans don't understand or appreciate or underappreciate when they criticize Iowa or any college football team?
Huh.
I'll go for this one real quick. I think one thing that the fans underappreciate or overly criticize is the play calling. From a fan standpoint, they just think that it's so easy to call plays. And
I tweeted about this.
Yeah, you did, and I thought it was a great point. And it's like, you guys are fans for a reason. I think you made that same point.
I said
and
that.
That's not to slight you guys or anything
Yeah.
like that. Just that football, though Brian says it's such a simple game because it was created years and years ago by PE teachers, and the only object of the game is to get a ball across a line. It seems so simple. But the game has gone so far, and it's so complex, and it's like a chess match between the offenses and defensive coordinators. And like, it's not easy to stay balanced and to not give away tendencies and to call the right plays, to set up plays in the future, and to hold back some plays that are going to work later on and things like that. And so I think as a fan base, you guys have to appreciate just how difficult it is to call plays and to get 11 guys on the exact same page doing exactly what they need to do at the same time to make these plays work. So I would like for you guys to, the next time you think about berating or underestimating how much of a football wizard that Coach Brian is, you take a step back and realize that this guy only gets one opportunity to call these plays. He has to do it under pressure, under fire. And even if he calls good plays, if the guys don't go out and execute it, it looks like it falls back on him. So he's got a very tough job, and he's actually doing a phenomenal job as a second-year offensive coordinator, calling an offense made up of guys like Brady Ross's and Drake Kulik's, who aren't the 4 and 5 star guys, but he's got these guys out there humming around and being able to put up 40 points or 400 yards of offense. So the offensive play calling has been superb.
Yeah, pretty incredible. A good point there with the using people like Brady Ross and Drake Kulik to do some pretty cool things on offense. That's going to be our last Q&A question of the night. There's so many more. That last question was by Let's Go Hawks 12, named Matt. Thank you, Matt. We will do this every week. I'll ask for questions again next week and every following week, but I'll probably pull some more from this week because there are some good ones. It's I think the best way to answer that question, or at least about your topic that you came back with of how difficult it actually is if you really want to, like, if you're that worried about it and you're a football fan or genius like you think you are, go on Twitter, find Dan Orlovsky. He just retired like last year, a couple years ago from the NFL. He was a backup quarterback, clearly knows what he's talking about. And go to his videos where he breaks down the Rams offense and what Sean McVay is doing to opposing defenses. The depth of the thinking that is being played out with these offensive schemes and plays and the timing it's next level, and you have no idea. Like it's so hard. It's insane. Like I said, that's going to wrap it up for the Q&A. We will finish with this. We're 53 minutes into the podcast here. We are 4-1, and we are going to Indiana this weekend. And
dangerous game.
Nostalgia is a little bit present here, as in 2015 we went to Indiana at 8-0 after beating Maryland, and our ninth game of the season was at Indiana, and I don't know if I've ever been more worried. I think Indiana 2015 was the most worried I had been about winning a football game. I mean, we played Ohio State, Michigan. Indiana scares me. I mean, and that's just coming from a long snapper who, again, has no control on the defense or offense. But I watched a little bit, some of their highlight plays against Ohio State. The year we played them in 2015, they had a dangerous offense. It's like a gunslinging team. It's like you're playing Texas Tech. They know how to score points, and they, like everybody else, they have 18, 22-year-old guys who are really athletic and play football. It's 11 versus 11. Like, it's not just this gimme thing. Indiana honestly scares me a little bit. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I'm kind of with you. I think this is probably going to be the Hawks' second toughest game for the rest of the year. You know, Penn State obviously being the toughest, but this is not the Indiana team of years past. I don't think they have as explosive as an offense as they used to. Still a very good offense in my opinion, but they can play defense now. Like 3-4 years ago, they were a freaking Big 12 team that put up 50 points but couldn't stop anyone, and they still lose games. But that's not the way it is anymore. They play defense, and I think this is gonna be a tough game. I think the Hawks are really gonna have to bring it to scrape out a win over there.
Yeah, and that's not to say I don't think they're gonna win, because I still think the Hawks will pull this out. One, because the Hawks offense, man, every week it's like you see something new that's like, if you just put all the puzzle pieces together, this is an elite offense. Like, yeah, at least it has the makings of one, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I think outside of the Northern Iowa game, they've yet to put together like a full game with a very clean, no mistakes.
Right. Yeah.
Where they just execute it all the time.
Yeah, it's very dangerous. Drake, did you have any thoughts on Indiana?
Yeah, I actually have a little bit of differing opinions than you guys because of a little bit of experience that Kevin and I have with this Indiana team from just a couple weeks ago. Kevin and I were out in Vegas, for those of you that didn't know, which was probably most of you. His mom and dad put together quite the trip, and I was lucky enough to freeload my way onto that one.
I was also invited, but I was not there.
Yeah, you're a lame. Anyways, so, you know, we go to the sports book on Saturday morning. Me, Kev, and Mr. Beef Ward were pretty jacked up about being able to bet some sports. And we put together a 5 or 6 team parlay that we felt real good about. You know, we had 6 picks that were like, you know what, boys, we might just hit the jackpot this morning. And so we all wrote her down, and the very first pick that we had was Indiana over Rutgers at -16.5. And yes, Indiana went on to win the game and whatnot, but Indiana won the first half by 17 points. And then they came out in the second half where they should have had adjustments and things like that, and came out and really just put the pedal to the metal and really just suffocated the Rutgers team. They came out and laid an egg. I'm not sure that they scored a single point in the second half.
I don't think they did.
And
they did not.
Our parlay went up in flames because this Indiana team couldn't score a single point on Rutgers in the second half. And that just makes me think that this team is not where it needs to be beat a team like Iowa, who is coming off a big win and with a lot of confidence, having played 5 really, really good games in a row.
Yeah.
I just don't think that this Indiana team possibly has it put together enough to really give us a scare. But maybe I'm wrong.
So
Yeah.
Drake's holding a little bit of a grudge. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I was
I'm bitter.
pretty upset
I'm
too.
really bitter.
Yeah.
Well, Drake, we went like 2 for 6 in that parlay anyway, so it was not that much to be bitter about.
Regardless. I wanted to be able to sweat it a little longer than we actually sweat it. Like when the kid, just hold on to the football. Like that's my biggest pet peeve ever. If you're a running back and you're just carrying the ball to put the game on ice, like let's hold on to it, Bubs. Like if there was like 6 minutes left and they turn around and give the ball to the running back for a first down and the kid coughs it up and then Rutgers goes down and scores a meaningless touchdown to throw, to kill the spread. I mean, are you joking, kid? Like, there's some money riding on this. Can we please hold on to the football?
That being said, I don't know what the spread is for the Hawks.
It was 5 last I saw.
I mean,
That's disrespect. That is utterly disrespectful.
Drake, what if I were a fan, of the Washed Up Walkons podcast, and I was looking in to bet on the Hawks this weekend. Hawks by how many?
Hammer it. Like at least 21, but we're probably approaching 1 million.
Yeah,
like
that's what I thought.
Hammer the Hawks. If the Hawks are you're only giving Indiana 5 points against the fucking Hawks, hammer them. Hawks, free money. You are literally printing money. If you get the Hawks at 5, you are printing money.
You heard it here first, folks. Go and get a second mortgage and put it on the Hawkeyes.
Yep.
The Hawks. I mean, your pink slips on your car.
Mortgage. Hashtag print money. Hashtag Drake's picks of the week. Hashtag Hawks by 1 million. Thanks for joining us for this second week of the Washed Up Walk-Ons podcast. We are, like we said, sincerely glad that you've decided to make a bad decision twice.
Yeah, we love you all for that.
Yeah, that's going to do it for us. We'll be back next week, plugging away, talking about the Indiana game, and then forecasting the game that follows that one. Again, thanks for joining us. This is the Wash Up Walk-Ons podcast. We hope you guys have a good one. See ya.
Go Hawks.